Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of iCabbi and the Taxi Alliance, I would like to welcome you to our webinar today, which is all about the launch of Driver Pay, which is a much anticipated product in the market, and we're very excited to share it with you today. Stephen Sweetnam is our product manager who will be demoing the product today. You already know him from Driver Docs. He looks after our driver services as an overarching product suite within the platform. So today he is going to take a new hat on and talk to you about Driver Pay, which is going to bring a lot of value to your fleets in terms of supporting driver experience. They're going to be able to get scheduled payments on their card payments, as well as instant pay, which we know is very valuable to drivers and to all of us sometimes, I guess, too. So Stephen, you're very welcome. How are things with you?
Very good, thanks. Nice to see so many people joined. Yeah, I'll take you through some of the benefits, some of the setup procedures, a quick demo, some of the financial stuff, and then yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to fire away.
And those questions can come in throughout the webinar using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to ask whatever you like, and we'll get to as many as possible.
Super, Sinead, thanks. I'll get going. So, yeah, as Sinead said, here to talk about Driver Pay. So, touching on some of the benefits, as you can see on screen here, this is an overview of the driver's wallet. So this is where I guess we'll be sending the driver's card work in a quicker fashion, so they'll get paid out on it sooner. Some of the benefits, it's fully traceable and it's aligned with dispatch invoicing, so it's very easy to see what has gone to the driver, and it's also very easy for the driver to see what they have gotten. The scheduled and instant payouts. So scheduled would be like a weekly, every Thursday the driver's wallet would transfer into their bank account. Instant payouts is exactly as it sounds. It's accessible within the driver app, so anytime that you have a driver signed up, they will be able to see a link to driver services in their app and avail of or quickly log into to their wallet or Docs if you're an existing Doc user. There's a payout dashboard for fleet, so it should be very clear from the invoicing what exactly has gone to a driver and what hasn't, but there's also a dashboard within driver services where you can query per driver and see exactly what payouts and when they happen and what was in them. And I think within driver services, it's fair to say the UI and the kind of the usability is very easy, which has been consistent feedback so far with the documents feature. I suppose to set some context, there's two specific personas, I guess, that we've seen so far. Of course, there's a spectrum and there's different fleets will have slightly different use cases, but I guess how we see it at this point is, you'll have the full-time driver who's working, consistent hours every week, and probably a variety of work type in the sense of account, card, and cash jobs. But it will give them a chance to log into an interface where they can see the work that they've completed. They can see the wallet earnings they have for card work, but they'll probably avail of the scheduled payouts more often than not. They can do the instant as much as they like, but it's probably more likely that they'll be on the scheduled side with instant payouts every now and then as needs and musts, whereas I think the instant payout is very much centered towards a part-time driver who maybe has another job or is a student, or for whatever reason, if they did a few hours on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, rather than waiting a week, they're most likely going to want to avail of that cash as soon as possible, in which case the instant payout is a real benefit to them, and perhaps the scheduled one is less impactful. I think that it lends itself to both, of course. So to kind of set the precedent, I'd say a lot of people have seen driver services through the different Docs demos, and probably a lot of people are set up on it, but Driver Pay and Driver Docs are both sourced within what we're calling driver services. So if you're on that system now, it'll be very similar for Driver Pay as well. At the end of this call, there is a form you can fill in to show your interest for Driver Pay. If that's the case, we'll hand all that information to CX and they'll reach out to you next week to get you to set up. But the very basic walkthrough is that we'll set your fleet up on this service, and then we'll invite your contact person. So the fleet admin that's on the call today that clicks yes will be contacted. We'll set you up as a user, and we'll also automatically import all the drivers on your dispatch system in here. So once you've been set up by CX, you can invite other users, so your colleagues in the office who'll be working in here as well, and you can also invite one, some, or all drivers depending on what way you want to use the service. So it's very easy to use. If you've used it already, you obviously know, but if not, CX can take you through it. But if I just move on to the demo part. So on screen here, it'll basically take you through a very simple online test booking here. If I jump a little bit forward, it will take the booking that we've created, and it will just take it through the normal steps, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with in dispatch. So we're just assigning it here to a test driver. We'll take it through from booked to assigned and to approved. One thing to call out is the number that the amount that the driver gets into the wallet here is the fee less the charges. So if anyone's concerned on that, it's not the total fee, it's the fee less the charges that will come into the driver. So whatever's set up here to come off the booking will be incorporated. And once we have assigned it to the driver, we move to the post and editing. So post and editing is quite important here. So when a car job is posted and edited, that is the trigger for the funds to be released to the driver's wallet. So that's the control point. So if there was a job that you were unsure about or that you wanted to look in greater detail, that's the step where you need to hold off before you release the funds essentially to the driver's wallet. So once the job is posted and edited, it will actually land straight into the driver's wallet as it'll show on screen here. And they will get a notification straight away. So they'll have some feedback to say a job has been approved, and obviously their wallet will increase with whatever they earned in the previous job. And they also have a list of the bookings that they have completed. There's a few small UI elements here, which I think are important. So you can see it has a status of approved. So that means it's posted and edited. That means that it has arrived into their wallet. If it was not posted and edited, it would say pending. And if it's been paid out, so if it was, say, last week's work, it updates to paid out. So when the driver logs in here, it should be very clear as to where the booking is at in terms of them actually accessing the funds. We also have a green icon at the top and a green icon here. This both allow the driver to know that they are active on driver pay. So for example, if I got set up today as a driver, then all my bookings from yesterday would be in gray. It would just be very clear to the driver that yesterday's work isn't incorporated in this driver's wallet. That was processed whatever the old way was. And all the bookings going forward, as long as they're on driver pay, would be in green. If we allow the video to roll on, you can see obviously the amounts also. So the total is updating here. So this is what I was talking about when I said the full-time drivers, or I suppose both drivers, they'll see that wallet balance totting up during the week or during the pay period as they complete car jobs and as they're posted and edited. If they want to complete an instant payout, you can see on screen the total balance, 88.55. 87.50 is all they can actually draw down, because we have it predetermined that they can't take all of the amount. They can take it less the service fee. So I'll touch on the financials at the end, but basically what that means is they can't skip the fee, if you know what I mean. It's hard coded in that it'll always be charged when they draw it down. If I leave it run, so if they wanted to draw that down, it would instantly go to their wallet, and the total would reduce. So if I move on into this setting, so we had been doing some work. You probably heard in some of the other meetings, if you were in, where I'd kind of been giving a preview of what we were doing. So we were basically we had done a beta program last year, and we implemented this real-time dispatch invoicing. What this essentially is this item here. So it's a new item type which we've added into the dispatch invoicing logic, which I'm just showcasing here because a lot of people in the dispatch team have worked very hard on it. But the byproduct is, if I push forward, you can see here 26.95. Oh, I'll just go back so I can speak on that a little bit more. So if we pause here, the job that we've just processed of 26.95. So this is just, a sample job. But the idea being that once that's posted and edited, as I've said a few times, that goes to the wallet. And then if I click forward, you can see here on screen 26.95 is coming off the dispatch invoice instantaneously. So it's very clear, like from the first job, it's very clear where the money has gone and how much has been transferred. So it was something that we had definitely feedback. If any of the guys that were part of the beta program are online, we had many chats on this. So this is kind of direct feedback from customers that this would make it a lot easier to see exactly what's happening and when it's happening. So if I kind of recap, it starts in the same way it always does. Once you've enabled this and you've kind of tried it out with some drivers that I guess you're comfortable with, or that are comfortable using the system, the jobs will almost automate into the driver's wallet. There's very little interaction needed from you in terms of monitoring, because the invoice is always giving you that feedback. I pop on, and then some kind of additional points on driver pay. So I think I made this point on the documents feature also. I think something that's in my mind, certainly in the area of the business I'm in, is kind of centralizing everything. Stop having so many solutions. I think we all have so many different programs and applications that we use. This is trying to bring probably something that a lot of you are doing elsewhere within the iCabbi hub. So it's saving you from sharing additional data with third parties, but also allowing you to kind of work within a framework which I guess you're very comfortable with. And likewise for the driver, as we've heard again from feedback from distant customers, drivers can get frustrated with different applications they have to use, different systems they have to use. So by housing this within the driver app, which is obviously where they do the majority of their work, it should make them very easy to manage, in the days and weeks and months as they get more and more comfortable on the system. I know some of our competitors and some other services that some of you may use have platform costs, like a recurring monthly cost, whereas that's not the case here. It's the transaction fees only, which I think obviously is a big benefit. And I kind of touched on this during the demo, but I hope it was clear. It obviously, as the hundreds and thousands of transactions come through, it'll become more and more obvious, but it is very much an automated service. Obviously, you'll need to have all the information once getting set up, but you can see if a driver, for example, was on auto post, once you've enabled the driver to use driver pay, all that card work will automatically filter into their wallet once posted and edited. It's up to them as to how they draw it down then. It's scheduled or it's instant. And you're just doing your normal invoicing with this new item on it, keeping everything in balance. So the driver is never, being given more than they've actually earned, if that makes sense. That's it for me. I'm sure there's probably some questions coming through. Is there anything anyone has raised?
Hi, Stephen. How are you? Thank you very much. That was one of our quickest but most simplified demos that we've seen. So I thought that was really, really simple. It looks like it's going to be a very easy product for people to use. We have had a couple of questions come in, and I'll just give you a break for a second while you can review those. What I will say to everybody who is joining us here, we are ready to start onboarding customers onto this product. What you need to do is sign up to our request access form, and we're going to drop that link into the chat now, so you can do it right now if you like, but we'll also send that link out to you guys by email following the webinar as well. And what happens then, as Stephen said, is that will be sent to your CX manager, and your CX manager will reach out to you next week at some point to initiate that process of getting you guys started. We would love some feedback on the product, what you've seen today as well. So we have a very simple poll to also share with you guys now, which is probably as easy as it gets. It's a yes, no, will you use the product? But that will help us determine, are we going in the right direction? So I'd invite you guys to take part in that poll now. And Stephen, so a couple of questions have come in here. One question here has come in around what's happening next with the product. So at the moment, this is looking at driver payouts for card payments. What's the next phase of development for driver pay? And I guess, from my own understanding of what's happening on the roadmap here, you probably need to explain that to everybody in terms of driver services in general.
Yeah, so as you touched on at the start, I've been heavily involved in documents, moved on to driver pay, and now I'm kind of taking the whole driver services hub, I guess, into our new back office, which is being leveraged by Odoo. So that will give us huge customization options and kind of a very efficient way to build out both of these products, but particularly driver pay. So Once we have integrated with Odoo, the plan is for account work to be also incorporated. So I've obviously focused the majority of the demo on card work specific. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what's next. So account work is next, and then also negative transactions. So of course, everyone does their work slightly differently, but there is scenarios for sure where a driver may owe the fleet money for whatever rent or whatever transaction fee they owe. That's not captured within a standard car job. So what I'm referring to as negative transactions. So being able to pay whatever the driver owes back to the fleet, or issue a payment to the driver to settle whatever bill they owe. They'd be the two key ones: account work and what I'm calling negative transactions.
That's amazing, Stephen. And I know I asked you one question there, but we had about 7 questions that I hadn't seen that came in as I was asking you that question. I'm pretty sure your response that the next phase of development is account work and negative payments. I think it answers all of the ones that just came in. Thank you guys for your questions. I think it does. Do you want to have a quick scan through there, Stephen, and just see,
Yeah.
is there anything else that we should address with the wider group?
Yeah. Is this card work or account only? Definitely answered that one.
Done.
You'd be able to add a feature to log drivers out on a weekly basis. Yeah, so we have a disable feature within the driver services view. So a fleet it wouldn't be on a weekly, it'd be on an ad hoc basis. But yeah, you would be able to log or to disable any driver that is misbehaving or has some issue, whatever. We pay the owner rather than the driver. Will this work for us? How can you elaborate on that, Leanne?
Any other ones there while we're waiting for Leanne to clarify?
Can the driver be logged back in once they've paid automatically? Don't quite follow that one. Sorry, the driver will log in themselves, so they'll have their view and the fleets will have their view. So once they've been paid for a job, they can log in and out as many times as they wish via the driver app. Do we have
that answers one of the questions there as well. There's another one there: is this accessible from the driver app? So there is a link to driver services that's going into the driver app, so they will be able to activate it directly from within the app and join it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Chalk, yeah, no, you can choose to use this for whichever drivers you want. So like my very basic language, you can continue the old way for some drivers and the new way for other drivers. There's no overlap. You are either on one system or the other. So of course, there may be certain drivers that are suited to this product, maybe are technologically comfortable, maybe the other ones won't. If a driver is driver paid and doesn't have it set up for weekly money, can we rule at the end of the month and send them money with the other account work? So yeah, until we've incorporated the account work, that will be separate. So this will account for card work, and you would settle your account work as you do currently. Obviously, then once we get into the future backlog items, it can all be incorporated in here. So it should be a big time saver once we get that in there for sure. That's a good idea. I hadn't heard that, but yeah, maybe a notifications on the fleet side. We do have an FAQ section for the driver, and as you saw in the demo, there's a notifications. But we can definitely look at a kind of a what's coming next. I do think there's a lot of webinars and demos, and we're trying to get as much information out there. And Sinead is very good at organizing a lot of these events. But if there's anything that we know is coming a long way out, I'm sure we can have some sort of a what's next update for sure. Sorry guys, reading these on the fly. Instead of paying each driver, we only pay the person who owns the car.
That's Leanne back.
Okay, Leanne, I might have to look at that one in more detail and come back to you. That's a little bit more of a technical one, but I'll probably follow up with CX on that. But I'll take a note of the question and be sure to get an answer back to you. Yes, this is a good question actually on the driver's bank details. So a driver, once you invite a driver to use driver pay, we have a pop-up when they sign in, and we ask them to add their bank details so they can create a Stripe account. That's what you're seeing on screen when I'm showing the wallet balance. So yeah, we have a form that allows them to set that up themselves. And if they need to update it going forward, it's completely handled by them, because obviously they need privacy for personal details like that. So it's handled on the driver's side, and there's a section within the driver's view for them to manage that going forward for, hopefully years to come. Yeah, does this work with Stripe payments? It does indeed. So we have a payment service, Javelin. So it's probably more of a technical question, but yeah, it's directly sent to them. So I guess the loop is almost direct to the driver. Yeah, there's a Stripe hold account. Does the money make the drivers have to be put into us? Yeah, the funds are available to the driver immediately after the job is complete. The instant payout feature is what I'm referring to there. So I think the scheduled payouts are T+1, which is depending on the day of the week, but instant is literally instant. It'll be straight into their wallet, and that's why there's a slightly higher cost with that, because it is kind of seen as a premium product. I'm not sure, Sinead, are you seeing any more in here? As you said, a lot of.
I think you're covering a lot of them actually, and I think a lot of people are asking similar questions, which is great, because you're covering them. You're doing double jobbing as you're going through the questions. I think that's them all done. Take another look for a minute. What I do want to talk to our customers about is our upcoming annual conference, which is taking place this year in Milton Keynes on the 14th of May, which is the day before the PHDM exhibition, which many of you guys attend. So that's taking place in the Doubletree next door to the exhibition hall for the afternoon there, where we'll have a product conference and we'll talk you through all of the updates that are taking place across the platform, which you can see are kind of coming thick and fast between our Google roadmap deliverables and new products that have come out this year, including Driver Docs and Driver Pay. We recently launched our product Move AI also is starting in North America, but we'll be delighted to share a full demo of that with you guys at that conference as well. So there's plenty to see, as always, and plenty of people to meet from the iCabbi team, both from the Dublin and the UK side of things. And of course, it's not all work. We will have a big customer party, which is taking place that evening in a venue called Dustin Mills, which is about 30 minutes outside of Milton Keynes. We'll be organising buses with thanks to CMAC, and that's a really fun venue with lots of different street food carts, lots of cocktails and entertainment as well. So we hope you can all come. I'm going to pop the link to that event into the chat box as well, so that you can RSVP if you haven't already done so. And we'll also pop a reminder of that into the email that follows up this webinar too. So we will follow this up with, again, the form to sign up for Driver Pay, the RSVP for Impact, but tomorrow we will share a recording of this demo. So if there's somebody on your team that you think would get value from this, that needs to see it, or that will be managing this side for your business, they'll be able to watch it back from tomorrow once we send that out to you guys. So please circulate that around your business, and feel free to send any comments or feedback to us when we send the emails out, and we can pass them on to Steve. And we always like to hear people's thoughts, people's comments, any suggestions. It's all very, very welcome. It's how we build our products. So we love to get intel back from our customers. So please feel free to do so. Stephen, is there anything else you want to address from the comments that have come in, or do you feel like you are done and dusted?
Just this last one here from Imran was a good question. Yeah, so the driver's view, the driver login is based off their email. So the question was driver numbers first, or driver ID, did you say, or driver number? Driver number. That's kind of your own system. But if, for example, if myself and Sinead were two different drivers and I left the company, my driver login for my pay and for my docs is based off my email. If you reassign that driver number to Sinead, Sinead would set up her profile with her email, and that's how the funds would go there. So while obviously we use driver numbers for a whole host of connections, these are specifically based off the driver's email. So it is worth calling out. There is one or two situations where we've had a driver with an invalid email or something like that. So that is something to be mindful of. If the driver is going to be signed up, they will need to have their email up to date, and that's what we'll use as the identifier.
And that's the same, Stephen, isn't it, for driver? That's a unified. We want the email to become the single source for all of these products going forward. Yeah, that's
a driver services feature. Yeah, so as we add more products in the years to come, it'll always be based off the driver's email. It's worth calling it because it's their viewpoint, if that makes sense.
Okay, super. Thank you very much, Stephen. You did a great job on your demo and a super job answering all those questions. And it's brilliant to see so many coming in because we can understand how valuable the product will be to the customer base. So for now, everybody, thank you very much for attending. Keep your eye on your email for the follow-ups, and we'll see you again very soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sinead.